Hello and welcome everyone to this interview session with domain experts. This interview series is conducted by Current Affairs Review, a philanthropic platform, and this interview series is also completely free of cost. Today we have among ourselves Shri Kamanasish Sen, IPS. Shri Sen has been, he is an IPS officer of 2014 batch, West Bengal Cadre. Mr. Sen has held a number of prestigious positions. Today, right now, he is SP Purba Bardhaman district. Kamanasish, welcome to this session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amit sir. Nice to have you.
Kamanasish, without wasting much time, we are getting into the questions directly. You did your MBA from Ahmedabad, IIM Ahmedabad. Right. Then you were working with the Hinduja Group.
Correct.
From there to civil services, this journey, this idea, formation of this idea, then getting into this this examination, how this idea formed?
Okay. Okay, I'll take up it. I mean, your question.
Sure.
It happens to be your first question, so I'll just I'll expand. I mean, I'll exaggerate a bit. See, it was civil services was not my first priority. In fact, that's why I had gone for my MBA. So my father, who is a doctor, he had also given the civil services, the combined medical services. So right during my upbringing, so he used to bring up this topic that he attended the UPSC interview at Holpur House and this and that. So that was always there in the back of my mind. And at IIM Ahmedabad, in fact, I happened to meet and I was very good friends with one of my one of the daughters, like one of the daughters of civil servants. So so she kept on pressing me that why don't I write the services? Why don't I write the services? So the exam, in fact. So that was there in the back of my mind, and then initially when I joined, I was happy with my corporate job, being very honest. But then at some point in time, I was getting bored because of bored because I was constantly asking myself that is this really what I want to do? Because I was making a lot of money for the company and also for myself, but then at the end of the day, I was not very content. I would put it that way. So and all of my friends, I used to talk to them. So they said that, and at that point in time, I was there for a short stint in London abroad. So they used to say that if you want to work in India, if you want to stay, if you want to continue in India and not settle abroad, or you don't have any ideas about abroad, so the civil service is still one of the most reputed services, and it's a place. It gives you an avenue to really do something for the people. So that's how the idea of civil services came, and I thought I'll give it a shot.
In the pre-interview session, we were talking about you appearing in prelims from London. You were in London at the point of time when you appeared in prelims. How did that happen? How it was organized?
In fact, thankfully, everything is online, so you don't have to do anything offline. So that really helped. And to be very honest, at our right now, probably there are two. Obviously, in prelims you have two papers. One is aptitude, and the other is GS. So at our times, both the papers were counted. Like the marks of both the papers were counted. Unlike now, where the aptitude is just qualifying. So coming given CAT and everything, so I didn't have to prepare anything for the aptitude. Being very honest, all I had to do was prepare for the GS paper. And to be honest, I always had that habit of reading the newspapers. Not from the focus of probably preparing for the exam, but then I was always abreast of what was going around in the world. So you can say that more or less I had to, and I had very keen interest in history and geography, because I was always into quizzing, and I had this, I loved world wars and I loved history. So, there's always this thing that I just had to brush it up rather than, going from ABCs again. So when I picked up the books for prelims and everything, so it was like, I was enjoying. It was not a stress or a burden, as I would put it. So it was like, it was opening up, and then I was enjoying, and, I felt like, I'm revisiting all my days, all my childhood days where, I read and I learned about history and geography and everything. So it was a journey. It was a journey where I really enjoyed, and it was not a stress or a burden to me. And CSAT, to be very honest, I did not prepare anything for CSAT, because having given CAT, the level of CSAT is quite a notches below the level of CAT probably. So CSAT, I didn't prepare much. GS was mostly, you know, through online and everything, and some of the static books were there. So when I had to write prelims, I just, you know, I had taken a 3 to 4 days off, and I just came, wrote the prelims, and I had gone back. And luckily you have all the keys coming out in the evening from all the coaching centers. So in a day, I was more or less sure that I would crack the prelims. So when I didn't have much idea about the books. I mean, I didn't have the books and resources with me to study for the mains examinations. So I had to come back, and I immediately within a fortnight and everything, I somehow came back to India. Took up my project was with Ashok Leyland in Chennai. So I was in Chennai, and there I took up the mock tests. I religiously studied, and to be very honest, I was very lucky enough, sir, because in Ashok Leyland, I clearly remember my boss. He used to see me with bloodshot eyes every day, and he used to ask me that what's wrong with you. You're not keeping well. Every day, I used to have bloodshot eyes because I used to sleep at around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I used to be in the office by 9 a.m. 9:15. So I used to hardly have any sleep. So I told him I couldn't hide it. I couldn't hide it from him. I didn't want to lie. I told him, sir, I wanted to. I'm writing the mains and this. So the moment he heard that from me, so I thought I would get a very a stern reaction from him. But I was, he was overjoyed. He was more than overjoyed, because I still remember he was a passer from IIT Chennai, and then he actually he wrote civil services exams twice with physics and maths. I clearly remember now. So he said that, यार मेरा तो नहीं हुआ civil services, 2 बार मैंने लिखा था maths और physics से, यार तेरा अगर हो गया ना तो मुझे लगेगा at least मेरा हो गया. So go for it, please write it with full dedication and whatever. So I was lucky to have that support, from a boss, because it's not that I used to shirk from my responsibilities and everything, but then it does happen. For example, let's give you small examples. For example, reading the newspapers, which comes as a burden for many of the civil service aspirants, because if they spend their mornings or prime time reading newspapers, then they cannot allocate the prime time or main time for their own static studies. What I used to do was that I used to take the newspapers along with me. Hindu news. I used to read Hindu newspaper, and I used to take that along with me and sit in the canteen in a corner with my lunch. I used to take my own sweet time to have lunch of around 50 minutes. So I used to read the newspaper and finish my lunch. So every day my schedule was, I'll complete the newspaper when I'm eating my lunch in the corner of the canteen. So, and not, gossiping with friends. And so that was, I'm just giving a snapshot of my schedule, what was there. So yes, so it was, if I look back, it was a nice journey. It was never sort of a frustrating, or it was never sort of it was never a burden to me. And I didn't want to quit to be very honest, I didn't want to quit my job, because I just wanted to give it. I just wanted to give that one shot, because I didn't want to have any regret in my life that, I didn't try for it. Even I just thought that I'll just give the exam, I'll give my best, and whatever happens, if I got through, if I didn't get through, whatever, I'll take it in that strength. So that is how the UPSC exam just happened.
In fact, what I would love to ask you here, the amount of time you had for GS, for preparing for mains after your prelims, it's very short a time, because during those days we used to have mains around October. Your prelims was in the month of May, if I'm not wrong.
Correct.
How did you manage the syllabus? If you can help me understand that part. I'm being a little bit technical here.
Sure. What I used to do was that that point in time, if you remember, that was the last year where we had 2 papers of optionals, and we had 2 general studies and essay as usual. So what I used to do, I was what I did was last 5 years papers. I picked up last 5 years papers, and I just saw a pattern. How much history, how much geography, how much polity, how much economy. What is basically, there's always a trend. There's always a trend. Sometimes it might go haywire, but there's usually a trend followed by UPSC. So what I did was I divided my time that, when I go from office, these are the days I would just study history, geography, polity, economy, and I used to alternate that with two of my optionals. One of my optionals was PubAd, where I scored very bad, being very honest, because that was one. In the hindsight, it was a bad decision to take PubAd. Honestly, but it's fine. And the other optional was sociology. Okay, PubAd actually was, it was, you can say it was not very disfamiliar for me, because it does have some portions of management, and being an MBA graduate, it helped. But again, in the hindsight, if given a choice, I would have, it would have been better for me if I would have taken management. I didn't take management only for the single reason was that the course was humongous course in management. The management course is very, very, it's a very big course. Entire 2 years of MBA is basically compressed in the course of management for UPSC. So I used to alternate every day GS. Any part of the GS. Please understand, when I say GS, I mean static GS, not the current affairs. Current affairs, my whole idea was that I'm not going to study current affairs when I come home and sit in my study table and study. That is not my time when I'm doing current affairs. Current affairs is only while I'm traveling to office, while I'm having lunch. Whenever I get free time in my desk, I used to look up at PIB, make some notes. That is the time for current affairs. But when I come home on the weekends, I never used to touch current affairs while sitting on my desk, except for while revising. You have some of the coaching centers, they did give this monthly facts, compilation of monthly facts. So that I used to just flip so that I don't miss any news. But while sitting every day, one optional, even if I study for 1 hour, one optional plus GS and static part of GS, either history or geography or say polity or economy or environment. And what I did was, I don't know whether it will be beneficial now or not. When newspapers or any current affairs where I used to find any topic relevant to these all static GS part, I used to have different files. People make notes, handwritten notes, or they type notes. I extensively used Evernote, and also wherever newspaper or magazine, anything which I used to read, which is relevant for that particular GS subject, I used to cut that and keep that in the file. And I used to make it a point that every 10 or 15 days, I used to revise that file, because what usually happens, what usually happens probably not just with me, but with everyone else, you keep on compiling and you keep on keeping that paper in a file, but you never get chance to revise. And if you don't get a chance to revise, your mind will tend to forget. End of the day, everyone we are just mere mortals. We tend to forget. So that is one thing which I used to do. And what it really helped me, I'm being again honest. It really helped me because I still remember one of the questions. It was. I still remember the question also. Yeah, it did not come in 2012 mains. It came in 2013 mains. I still had. There was a question regarding Article 19 and 66A of IT Act. How 66A of IT Act and Article 19, they're contradictory and everything. And when I saw that paper in my GS2, it was in GS2 in 2013 mains, I almost literally laughed because, this was something which I had, prepared, or what I had notes and everything for 2000, a year prior. For 2012 mains, in fact, I had prepared. So it does help you. This is one thing which has really helped me, said whatever. And if you see, I might be wrong again. If you see, UPSC does have a tendency to ask current affairs in the form that it is not current, but it is a year back current, if you get what I mean, So this mode, I don't know whether I'm able to answer your question, but then this sort of, GS and, I would say, retrofitting current affairs into GS, this is something which I did, and it really helped me. And one more thing, in our paper, like in GS 2012, I still remember the questions were not direct. They're very, very less direct questions. What I mean by that is that, for example, my first question in paper 1 was regarding innovation. we had to. It was a 10-marker question. It was regarding innovation, and I still remember innovation. So I had my past reading, not regarding civil services per se, but my past regarding, because I read about this by C.K. Prahlad, Fortune at the Bottom of the Pyramid. There's a book by C.K. Prahlad where he mentions about innovation, where he mentions about this jugaad technique and everything. So, when you write the answers, I wrote exactly that. I quoted, this C.K. Prahlad in his book mentioned this. So this is not something which you'll read and you'll just go and you'll probably, just puke and just write in the paper. It did not happen. So that time while even I was writing the answers, I felt that probably now UPSC is probably, going a bit, it's not going in a straight-jacketed formula. It's going a bit different, where it also wants to check how much the student has read and how much he or she is able to apply that while getting the answers. That's what I felt. I might be wrong again. But then UPSC 2012-13, when we gave the exam, it was direct questions, or what happened in this, or exactly it was these questions where the trend was gradually decreasing. I don't know right now. Probably I haven't seen last year mains paper, in fact. But so that really helped my love for reading, and also these newspapers reading, that really helped me, in fact. And you could people often ask me the simple question that when I tell them that actually my preparation for UPSC has been my span of preparation for UPSC has been very short. Being very honest, it has been hardly 6 months, and again 6 to 7 months of intense preparation, you can say. So when I say that to people say that I'm exaggerating, but trust me, I am not exaggerating. But my only point is that my base while I was growing up, or over the period of years, because I've been into quizzing, history or geography, more or less, they were always there in the back of my mind. World wars. Even right now, I can just draw all with the timelines. I can exactly start on with the murder of Ferdinand, Archbishop. Duke Ferdinand, and then start on with when World War I ends, what happens after that, when World War II starts, what happens after that, along with the timelines, because that is there in the back of my mind. I just have to revise, if I'm able to put it.
In fact, two things I would like to point out here. No doubt, we also keep on telling this to students that this habit of wide range of reading, that genuinely helps a candidate. Somehow we see students or candidates, they're becoming too much focused on preparation of civil services only.
Correct.
Having that knack of reading additional materials, books, general reading, as we call it, it's very much necessary. It's very much helpful, which normally a student he or she misses. One more thing, the nature of the question that you talked about, that has always been the nature of UPSC. They would never ask you a question which is too hot, as we say. If the topic is too hot, the example that you gave, Article 19 and 19(1) and Section 66A of IT Act, no doubt, in 2012 it was too hot a topic at that point of time. If you remember, a lot of things were going on. So yes, it was too hot. So naturally, they didn't ask it that year, and the very next year they asked the question. At the same point of time, we also do see this trend where questions from basic part of the GS or static part of the GS is being asked, but they're triggering because of current affairs. That too happens, right? Here I would like to tell the audience that Kamanasish, he appeared in 2012 first. In his first attempt, he cracked and he got selected as an IRS officer. In the second attempt, he became an IPS officer, right? So he actually appeared twice. That's why you have been hearing about these two menses. In both the occasions, he cracked the examination in his first attempt as well, in his second attempt as well, right? Let's go forward from here on. How much do you think the significance of basics that lies? The basic part of the syllabus, that is the static part, as we normally say, static part of GS. How significant is that?
I think, to be honest, I'll just like to give an example. you see, all the coaching center materials, all these lovely, ready-to-eat materials which you have in the market right now, these are all like restaurant food. That I'll give that analogy. All these are just like restaurant food. So obviously, everyone wants to go out, sometimes, once a week probably, or once a month, depending on your appetite, to a restaurant and have all the fancy food. But then you cannot have this restaurant food again and again and again for each single day. And remember, UPSC preparation is not just one day thing. It goes on for months and months and months, whatever. So and basic books, basic materials is just like your home food. You just cannot ignore it. You just cannot do without it. So basics are very, very important. I'll just give you again. Everything is just like it's somewhere something. All these things, they point, basically they converge. Just like to give an example. For example, geography. For example, geography, you should be very well conversed with the map of India. Why? I mean, obviously, you have to. But then why you should know the map of India? You need to know the map of India regarding, your direction of monsoons, how monsoons affect, blah, blah, blah. It will help you not just in geography, but also in international affairs. For example, string of pearls. I'm just giving an example again. So string of pearls, what happened in string of pearls? If you're able to, point out exactly where are the ports, which are surrounding, surrounding India, for a Harambata Tola port, etc., etc. So you'll exactly know in the map with your geography basics how it is becoming string of pearls. What is the counter strategy India is having, which India employs or what India should employ. So everything is, it converges. So until or unless one doesn't have his or her basics strong, it's very, very difficult to get to the next level. That is all the coaching center materials, coaching center books, etc., etc. Because if someone directly picks up all these books, he or she might be successful. I'm not saying that he or she won't be able to crack the exam, but the journey won't be smooth. For holistic learning, for the journey, to enjoy the journey, it's always it's always advisable, and I would I would definitely do so, to start your exams, or to start and to proceed with the basic books, so that you build on the basics. Once your basics are set, once everything, that pieces of jigsaw are there in your mind, and then all those materials from your coaching centers and everything helps.
Okay. One more question, which actually I'm developing spontaneously. Since the 2 years you appeared, 2012 and 2013, the pattern of the examination was completely different. In fact, in 13, a new paper was introduced called Ethics, Integrity, Aptitude. How did you manage that paper? Because you were already in service at that point of time. I do recall that we met once in Nasan at that point of time in Hyderabad. So being in services and in that backdrop, you were preparing for the mains as well. So how did you manage this new paper?
Honestly, to be honestly, the best thing was that no one had any clue what's going to be the pattern. So that actually helped, this was the first time UPSC had introduced. So everyone, aspirants, coaching centers, experts, everyone were on the same page. So what I did was that when no one knows anything, until unless you are the paper setter, which is it is impossible to know who is the paper setter, except for him or the UPSC. No one has any clue. So what I did was that, I just religiously for 1 or 2 days, I studied the syllabus. I'm talking about ethics. I studied the syllabus. I, in fact, Googled all the keywords from the syllabus. That probably I would not do right now. I would not suggest that. But as you are asking me, I would like to answer that. I Googled the syllabus, and whatever materials I could, search on the internet and everything, I just studied all those. Made some notes of my own. There, I made some notes. I made some notes I made some soft notes, in fact, regarding all the philosophers, utilitarian principles, and duty ethics, etc., etc. So that I know what those things are. And in case studies, because it was mentioned, I still remember in the syllabus that some case studies also would come regarding ethics. So I made some notes also, so that I have a framework in mind, and whenever I solve the case studies or whenever I need to write about the case studies, I mention those principles of ethics which I'm studying. So this is the only, probably this was the first time, and the benefit, the first mover advantage for us was always there, in fact. So everyone was the same page. I just listened to coaching centers and study. I don't know what all they had given. There were a lot of things in the market. I thought that nothing doing, let me concentrate on the other 3 papers also, plus I'll do this on my own. So this is how I went about ethics, and thankfully no one had any clue. But from next year onwards, probably coaching centers, everyone came out with books and everything. You have plenty of materials probably now in the market after 7-8 years.
Even then, one thing that we see here, general reading. Still today we do admit that general reading that helps in ethics and duty aptitude. That's not a paper which someone can teach you. How can someone teach you ethics? That naturally comes to us normally, right? And at the same point of time, to substantiate ourselves, we need a habit of general reading. That helps a lot, which you already have, which genuinely helped you, no doubt about it.
You're talking about reading. I still remember one of my favorite books of philosophy. Books in philosophy, The History of Philosophy by Bill Durant. So this is one of my favorite books in my college. I wanted to study ethics and everything. So so this was one of the books which was suggested by my professor in engineering college. I had taken some optionals of English literature also. Please don't laugh, but I had taken that as selective in my engineering college also. So she used to like me a lot, and I was very I really loved the quotes. And again, in my MBA also, I had taken Philosophical Foundations of Management. Brilliant course, in fact, at IIM Ahmedabad. So I really love that book, Brief History of Philosophy, Bill Durant. It actually helped me. And one thing I did was I again read the book, because most of the things, many of the things which were there in the quotes, it was covered very nicely in that book. You can say it really helped me, but yeah, in fact, you don't have to study per se. I don't know. I mean, we didn't study per se anything for ethics. It was probably, I don't know. It was probably over the period, whatever we read, it really helped us in that paper, in paper 4.
One more thing I would be asking you here, that is about your interview preparation, personality test. It's not exactly interview. We call it's personality test actually. Now the question, anything. First of all, obviously, was there anything which you still remember? The 2 interviews you faced,
Yeah.
something which was striking.
Yeah. My 2013 interview, it's there in the. In fact, I had taken mock interview with the Vision IS. Ajay sir was there. Like he was a. Right now, Vision IS is probably a very big brand. Probably everyone. I had very good relations with. I still have good relations with Ajay Niranjan sir. So Ajay was very. I went to Delhi for one mock interview to Vision IS, and that time I didn't really prepare very much. And again, I'm being very, very honest. I didn't prepare because it's very difficult to prepare per se for a personality test, because I gave them mock, and in fact the experts who had come there, so they had given me a feedback that just be yourself, whatever you have, however you have performed in the mock, even if you keep up this this performance, you should be, your interview performance should be very good. So that was a big boost for me, and very honest, and to be very, I still remember my whole interview experience is there in Google. Because the day, I still remember, it was 21st of March. My interview was there, and immediately after the interview, I sat and just wrote the transcript of the interview. It went on around 40-45 minutes. I was the last person in my interview. In fact, the last person of the day. Of that 21st was on 21st, the last person of the day to be interviewed was me. And that time the board chairman was Mr. P.K. Mishra. To be very honest, I think that was one of the best interviews of my life. I really do have a habit of spoiling my interviews. I have spoiled so many interviews of mine. I don't know. Sometimes I tend to get very enthusiastic, and it doesn't go well with the interview. So I do have a habit of spoiling interviews right from my IIM days. But this UPSC interview was very it went on very good, much higher than my expectations. It couldn't have gone better. So and probably I got around 218 marks. So in my interview, which was quite good. I never expected that, but anyways, so it was very good. And they asked me from all sort of all spheres, right from my something about my MBA. Then at that point in time, basically, I have the interview. The interview is there in the Google. The entire transcript is there. Then at that point in time, there was something regarding this Mensa. I'm basically a member of this Mensa club. So they asked me something about the Mensa that is. So I told them regard that being high IQ doesn't is not an indicator that you'll be very successful in your life. And then they asked me something about finance. It's very basic about finance. Then there's something about marketing. There's something about movies, and two questions about sociology about Northeast, as my hometown is Guwahati, Assam. It was more like it. It was a very complete package, and after the interview, I was very exhausted, but it couldn't have gone better. And what I understand is that I probably UPSC also, probably even now also it does the same thing. That even if you don't know a question, I mean, you're not God, you're not that they expect you to know everything. Even if you don't know anything, it's always good that to be honest, to say that sorry sir, I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer, or it's very bad. It puts a candidate in a very bad light if someone just bluffs the answer. I mean, for example, again, I didn't know one or two answers. So I just said that, sir, I'm sorry, I really don't know, but I would glad to know, if you could enlighten me or something like that. So because they look for some, I don't know, some characteristics in candidates that that whether they will be able to take the pressure of the job, how true are they to themselves. First you need to be true to yourself, and then again they are not interested into knowing your knowledge or anything, because knowledge and everything you have been tested in your mains. I mean, after you have cleared the mains, you are in the interview. So you're not there for even if you don't know a fact, it's okay. It's completely okay. Trust me. I mean, I also didn't know some answer. I said, I'm sorry, sir, I don't know the answer. But then you should never bluff. Number one. I mean, never ever. Second is always never to go in an argument where you are not very sure. It's all because the persons who are sitting there are experts. They've seen hundreds of candidates, they've seen hundreds of things. They're very experienced. So it's always good not to go in an argument. I mean, I would suggest not to go in an argument until and unless you are damn sure and you bet your life for it. So, and it's a wonderful experience. To be very honest, it's a wonderful experience. The whole right from the time you enter the hall and everything, right from the starting to the end, it's a complete experience. And to be very honest, interview is many people, they think that scoring marks in mains is all, but trust me, mains is obviously you need to score very high in mains. But for example, a person like me, I had very poor marks in Purba. I mean, very honest. I mean, it's no shame to it's no shame to confess. But then during our times, the marks was out of 250, 200. Sorry, it was around 200.
300.
300. It was around 300. Right, 300. So my PubAd paper one score was 39 out of 300. Can you imagine that? Like, I still wonder if I would have taken management and not even studied the paper and just gone and written the exam, I would have scored, I don't know what, at least more than 39, that I can write it with my own blood. So I scored 39 out of 300 in my paper one in PubAd. And similarly, paper two also I had scored around, I mean, it was in double digit. I still remember. So my PubAd score out of 600 was extremely, it was 100 and something. And with this sort of marks, no one could ever expect an interview call. If you could, if I could put it that way. My GS paper 1, I had scored the second highest marks in GS paper 1. Even GS paper 2 marks were good. My sociology was good. My essay was, again, I scored very high marks in essay. So I still remember it was regarding science and science and mysticism. And again, I had read this book, again, one of my favorite books, in fact, The Tao of Physics by Fritjof Capra. It is one of my favorite books. So, I had read that book, and my whole idea of the book I penned down in that essay. And probably I got second or third highest marks in essay. So, I had second, third highest marks in essay. My GS marks were good. My social marks were also pretty good. My Pub Ad marks were horrible. 39 out of 300. You don't expect an interview call. Please let me put it that way. Probably I had the lowest marks, to put it that way. I think it's no shame admitting it. I scored badly. But then my interview marks were, again, probably it was amongst the top 4, 5 or whatever you call that. So except my Pub Ad marks, everything was like very, very good. So interview marks do play a very important role. If I would have scored badly in my interview, I would have never made it in my interviews. So, and obviously, your ranks, whether you get an IAS, whether you get an IPS or IRS or whatever, you can say it depends a lot of interviews. So interviews should be taken seriously. But having said that, seriously doesn't mean that you are serious. You need to just be sincere, and honest to yourself. That is it. If you don't know anything, please say it, sir. Sorry, sir, I don't know. But it's always good that whatever you write in that DAF form, each and every word you Google it if you don't know, and each and every word you should know, like what does stand for. Like, for example, I'll just give an example. For example, I studied in Sindhya school, Gwalior. So, what are the keywords? Sindhya, Gwalior. So I should know everything. I'm expected to know everything about, the family of Sindhya, etc., etc., etc. I'm expected to know about Gwalior, the history of Gwalior. How did the name Gwalior come into place? What are the famous things in Gwalior? Because, if you get the flow, what I mean. So this is how you prepare for the interview. Once you prepare for the interview, then you just be yourself and probably appear.
See, that's exactly what we try to say to the aspirants. This is personality test. This is not interview. Interview is test of knowledge. Here they are more looking at the personality of the candidate, whether the candidate is fit for the services or not.
Correct.
So in that sense, this particular services, and there's no shame in saying that, sir, I don't know. Obviously, those people, they have tons of experiences, far more than what anyone can have.
Yeah.
So that's how it is. Kamanasish, I know we are taking a lot of time of yours out of the busy schedule of a day. I'm coming to the last question of this session. Any suggestion that you have for the aspirants nowadays? Those who are trying to prepare, anything, any word of advice for them?
Okay, I'll start with. Thank you so much, Amit sir, for giving me an opportunity to be, to be able to interact with you and for taking this session. I'm really, really thankful because it feels nice, outside, meeting and talking to people outside our sphere of, this police and everything, because you become very careful with whom you meet, whom you talk, being very honest, my first thing is that each and every day of mine, I have a very tough job at hand, and you can also probably relate because same as with Ishani madam. So, we cringe and we crib and, we swear a lot at what sort of a job is this and that and everything. But there's a catch to it. At the end of the day, when I'm able to sleep, at least I'm happy that I've done something significant because at least someone who is helpless, I'm able to help them. So end of the day, you need people in the services who are able to, do their bit for the people. And this is the best avenue. This is the best avenue. My suggestion would be for anyone preparing for the examination. If you're a college going student, say in the first year, second year, third year, please, school is too young. If you're in school, please concentrate on getting good marks in class 12 so that you get into good college. College going students, either you might be a engineering student like me, a hopeless engineer like me, in fact, or a good, you might be a good sociologist or any stream. Read, my only suggestion would be, please read. Now, the next question is what to read. Good question. The thing is that please diversify whatever you're reading. If you're reading fiction, stop reading fiction, or lessen the frequency of reading fiction, and then try to read some good history book, try to read some good geography book, try to read some good economy book, something so that you know the basics. I mean, and there are plenty sort of books. No one is asking you to pick up, say, pick up a Bipin Chandra and, Bipin, I mean, to be very honest, Bipin Chandra is a lovely book. If someone reads it, not for the sake of preparing for the examination, it's a lovely book. If you ask me, that's my personal opinion. Just pick up any book and, and just start reading, just going with the flow. Initially for 1 to 3 days. In fact, again, not just reading the books also, but also the newspapers. And please don't read the masala newspapers of like TOI, Times of India, or whatever the other masala newspaper. Try reading. I think Indian Express is very good, or the Hindu. And at the first 1 week or 10 days, everything will seem Greek, Latin, French to you. And but don't give up. When you don't know the meaning of anything, when you don't know the concept of anything, just keep that in mind. Don't stop and underline that at that very instant. Even in the book, when you're reading something, don't underline it. Just keep that in your mind, because the moment you underline, you're breaking your flow of reading. So don't do that, because then you'll just get in the habit of underlining and not understanding what is there in the understanding the bigger picture. But the concept, for example, whatever balance of payments or whatever you're reading, anything, just keep that in mind. You have Google at your disposal. You have so many people at your disposal. Ask them, clarify the topics. For example, whatever Indo-Israel relations, you might not get how it started, how was the Israel state formed, what is the conflict about, what is the whole issue about West Asia, and so just keep reading. But then you can Google, you can talk to people how it happened, and trust me, one thing, when you research about something, that goes into your head, that will stay with you for for the next 2-3 years or whatever, or probably forever. But then if you just mug up a thing, just for the heck of reading, you're just reading a thing, you'll forget it in a day or two, just like this. So it's good that if you don't understand one thing, take it as an opportunity and not as a hindrance. Google about it, know about it. You never know what's going to ask, what's UPSC going to ask. For example, in fact, Netflix. Most of the person, they would have a subscription to Netflix. Good. There are awesome documentaries, World War I, World War II in color. Please watch that. It's brilliant, so that will help you to enjoy and also learn at the same time. Many of you would have watched Narcos. It's very famous, Pablo Escobar. There was a question in 2000, not in my time, 2000 probably 11 or 12. I forget. Forgetting the year, where they asked regarding the drug trade between this Colombia and this US. How does this cartels operate? Something like that. The questions. So just keep your eyes, ears open, and get your basics strong. What I mean by basics, get into depth of things. For example, cyclones have been hitting India. How does the terminology of cyclones happen? This naming of cyclones, that was asked in our time, and I was able to answer that because I had, out of my curiosity, I had Googled and I had read. I knew that, how the terminology happens. Similarly for cricket, any and everything, whatever you are doing, just if you don't understand anything, try going into the depth of things. And the first year, second year, third year of college is a brilliant time for you to explore and you to know things. And for example, if someone is writing the paper in say next year, probably next May, the village exam will be in the month of May or June, if I'm not wrong, or maybe it might be delayed because of this pandemic. So for you, okay, fine. Whatever your history, geography, economy, polity, and everything. But then, schedule your time accordingly. If you don't love something, please don't avoid it. You never know the GS is going to be heavy on geography, or it's going to be heavy on polity or history or anything. So, divide your time proportionately. And I like, one funda which I have is that if you're not good in anything, you cannot be good in everything. You cannot be good in history, you cannot be good in economics, polity, geography. Until unless you're probably a rank 1 or rank 2, I don't know. But then you can't be good in each and every subject. My funda is simple. Even if you're bad, if you're like not doing well in something, don't try to make it your strength, but then don't neglect it, so that at least you know the basics in that. At least the common topics are there with you. You never know what comes from where. So don't avoid it. And for example, I was not good in geography. It's not. If I'm not good in anything, I never used to I was not very, very good in geography. I'm being very, very honest. My favorite subject was history. Even being a science student, even being an engineering student, based on always my favorite study was subject was history. I loved history like anything. But that does not mean, even I wanted to take my optional as history. But then someone, again, you should not listen too much to people. You should not listen to too many people. Someone suggested, 1 or 2 people, that please don't take history, because history is the syllabus is huge and this and that, you'll never able to finish it. So I don't know. I listened to them. I listened to them. I paid heed to them. I didn't take history. But then don't listen to too many people. They'll be creating a lot of self-doubt on yourself. Try to 1 or 2 people. And it's very important that I hope some of you must have seen that quota factory. So you have this character of Jitu Bhaiya. So find your own Jitu Bhaiya, so that you have that person whom you can go back to whenever you have self-doubts, whenever you need doubts. That's very important in preparation. That person might be anyone, your family member, your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, teacher, anyone, anyone in this world. So try doing that, because it's a journey, and please enjoy the journey. Please enjoy the journey. Like, you should be happy at the end of 1 week or 1 month that yes, I know a lot of things. I can talk to people. I can talk to people about any topic which comes up. Trust me, some wise person said that consider yourself well educated when you're able to read the newspaper from page 1 to page 16 or whatever, from end to end of the newspaper, and you understand each and every bit of it. Even I think 99% of on that yardstick, 99% of India's population is probably uneducated. So you will be very lucky amongst the 1% who will probably able to read and understand each and every news in the newspaper, what's going on. So consider be in a happy state of mind. That is very, very important. We'll have days where you'll feel depressed. You would not want to prepare. You'll feel that what am I doing with my life? Happens with everyone. It happened with me also. One weekend, I was because all the weekends I was not partying, I was not meeting any friends. I was just locked in my apartment, and I used to study. So one or 2 days it happened to me that what the hell am I doing here? Like, when I'm earning so much, I have a well-paid job. Let me just enjoy and whatever. So those are the times you'll also have the same feeling. At the end of the day, we are not Supermans. We are just mere mortals. You'll have those feelings. So whenever you have those feelings, try not to study all those heavy subjects. Try reading something which is like which you like. Probably 1 or 2 days you just read magazines. Pick up India Today, pick up Outlook, pick up any all those crappy magazines or whatever. Where there's some masala also where you enjoy. And if you want to, you can obviously go and watch a movie. There's no hard and fast that you need to sit and lock yourself for 13-14 hours and not watch a movie. No, it doesn't happen. Go watch a movie, but then 3 hours you go watch a movie, end the movie there and then. You don't think about the movie later. That's very important, because most of the persons, what they happen is that they go watch the movie for 3 hours, and then again for the next 6 hours they keep thinking about the movie. Don't do that. If you want to meet someone, go meet someone once a week. It doesn't affect you. It's that old adage which used to happen that if you want to do UPSC करना है आपको सब कुछ मोह माया त्याग करके you have to Pata nahi, I don't know, you have to go to Kailas and sit and meditate. No, it doesn't happen. Please, I never did that. I mean, I studied for 6 intense months, but in the middle, when my friends were too pushy, I used to go and meet them. In fact, I used to come. So it should be don't make it, don't, go too hyper over it. It should be a way of your life. You'll enjoy and when you start enjoying the process, you'll see the results coming out. And please write mocks. With mocks, you'll analyze yourself. You'll analyze yourself better that where you lack and where you can improve yourself. And when you get less marks, fair enough. Don't get disheartened. Like in the 100 questions, probably. Like I don't know. I did a lot of analysis also. For this writing while writing the exam. And there are 100 questions probably just out of my curiosity. Just try doing that. 100, there are 100 questions and you have 4 options. So on an average, if you do, each option should be 25, So I was, I was thinking that if you count also each of the options, answer options, you'll see everyone like one is 23, one is 27, average would be around 25. So even I was also thinking that, tukka, mara jaye ki nahi mara jaye, I was just thinking, so try doing all this in your mocks, try exploring things, keep yourself interested. And the most important thing is talk to persons, talk to people who are preparing for the exam, talk to persons who would really help you. And don't listen to too many people. I mean, they would say a number of things which would, break you down and everything. So all the best. Don't worry too much. UPSC is, end of the day, is not the end of the world or not even the starting of the world. Then many of my friends, trust me, when people saw me writing, many of my friends also, they thought that they were also writing UPSC. Many of friends, out of them, some of them got into services, some of them didn't get into services. The people who did not get into service, they are also doing equally as good as I am, probably in fact better than what I am. If you see if you see their remunerations and everything. So just relax and just go on with the preparation, with the flow.
Kamanasish, it was a pleasure having you, and genuinely the suggestions that you gave, we keep on trying to tell these things to the students. Exactly, this is not the end of the world. At the end, this is not the end of the world. So, but still, when someone is going forward, no doubt, give your 10%, and then let's see what happens. Once again, I would like to repeat this thing. This interview series, it's completely philanthropic in nature, and that's how we are going forward with this. To the viewers, thank you for watching, and I hope you get some of the ideas, at least what Kamanasish has been trying to convey us. No doubt, this is invaluable. The sessions that he has been given is invaluable. Thank you, Kamanasish, once again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amit sir. I hope I'm able to help some people. Thank you. Thanks a lot.